রেকর্ডটা হচ্ছে কোথায়?
Start video call.
রেকর্ডিং স্টার্ট।
Hello, students. Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah, yeah. How are you all? Good.
Fine, ma'am.
Fine, ma'am.
Good. Okay. So actually, you know, most of the syllabus, whatever was given to me in this unit, is almost done. If you remember, we started with the care of patients with burn, right? Then
Yes.
subsequently we have discussed what are the various pathophysiological changes that is occurring in the burn. Then what are the signs and symptoms of burn? What are the various ways of taking care, like calculating the total body surface area that is burned. And subsequently in the next 2-3 classes I have covered like management of patient. It is divided into emergent phase, acute phase, rehabilitative phase. Um,
Stop recording.
then next class I have completed the skin grafting. If you remember, when a major full thickness burn patients or partial thickness burn patients, how the cosmetic area or the damages which has been occurred due to the burn, how it can be taken care through the surgical approaches. Is it clear? Yeah. Hello.
একবার মোড়ে গিয়ে চেক করো রেকর্ডিং হচ্ছে
Hello.
কিনা।
Hello. Is it clear?
Yeah.
Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So today, see, in the same PPT only, I have.
মোড়ে গিয়ে দেখো
I'll
রেকর্ডিং
be.
হচ্ছে কিনা। না হলে তোমারই ঝামেলা। হচ্ছে স্টপ রেকর্ডিং আর পজ রেকর্ডিং দেখাচ্ছে।
Okay. Then now see, from here we'll start today, right? So, are you getting, all of you are getting that slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So see here, the types of burns already we know. Just to have a revision of the previous class, we have, it has been three ways we can differentiate or classify the types of burns. One is the superficial burn, another is the partial thickness burn, and the full thickness burn. So in superficial burn, you know the symptoms, like how symptoms and the signs can be differentiated. Patient will be having painful blisters. There will be no edema. There will be extreme pain in the area where there will be a spillage of hot water, or there will be direct contact of any substances. Then there will be redness. There will be blanching with pressure. Then these are all will be the positive signs in case of patients who are admitted with the superficial burn. Then in case of partial thickness burn, if you see, there will be blister, there will be moist area. It will be like a little bit of moisture up, the area will be moisture up, little bit of wet, the area will be wet, and it will be also extreme painful. And then the full thickness will be extremely dry, discolored, and there will be no pain. Why no pain? Because the nerve endings are damaged, and there will be no nerve, there will be no pain signals reaching up to the brain, and that's the reason like patient will not have any kind of complaints of pain. Okay. Next, if you see eschorotomy. Now this particular thing was remaining on you. I did not explain what is an eschorotomy. If you see the definition, it is the surgical division of the non-viable skin and tissues which allows the cutaneous envelope to become more complain. Like how? Like the tissues which have been necrosed, you know, which has been totally unviable, means there will be no vascular supply, there will be complete damage of the tissue over the skin. Those will be removed as a eschekatomy procedure. And that particular, the scar, the overlying layer of the skin which has been burned, it will be, if you remember, it is a blackish discoloration of the skin, and that is called as the eschar, and that removal, the process of the removal of that eschar or the scar is the eschekatomy. Am I clear to all of you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
ma'am.
What is eschekatomy? It is the blackish discoloration of the layer of the skin, the layer of the skin which has occurred due to the burn injury, and which has made the skin totally non-viable. There will be complete disruption of blood supply, and this particular area we termed as eschar. Now, in the deep second and third degree circumferential burns, these particular eschars may develop the chest. When we do the eschekatomy in the chest, it will allow the respiratory movement to start. In the limb, it will restore circulation in the limb with excess swelling under rigid eschar. And not in the subcutaneous tissues. If it is not there in the subcutaneous tissues, it will be exposing the subcutaneous tissues. So this is the reason, like, the eschekatomy is sometimes very important, because until and unless you remove the non-viable skin or overlying the burn area, then it will not be possible. The wound cleaning and the wound dressing may not be able to give you a good healing or proper prognosis of the patient. So that is the reason, like, eschekatomy is very much important, so that the skin healing and the repairing of the wound is faster. Then, coming to little bit of fluid resuscitation, this particular thing only I have highlighted you what type of formulas we can use to resuscitate the patients in case of fluid resuscitation. When a patient is admitted with the burn injury, we have to calculate the total body surface area burn by either rule of 9 or by the this Land and Broder method, or the palm method. Like palm method also, if you see the book, you can get it. The palm method means only this palm. If you see the palm, this particular area, it is considered as 1% of burn, right? So this is also a type of burn injury. A calculation of total body to surface of area which has been burned. Now, in case of fluid resuscitation, we can go ahead with the three formulas. One is the Parkland formula, one is the Evans formula, one is the Brook formula. Are you listening?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, three formulas. One is the Parkland formula, one is the Evans formula, another is the Brooks formula. Now, this is the Parkland formula. If you see the Parkland formula, remember always that our fluid of choice will be extremely crystalloid. We cannot go with sorry, we cannot go with any kind of fluid other than the crystalloid. So fluid of choice will be ringal lactate or crystalloid. Normal saline if you give, can produce some acidosis, hyperchloremic acidosis. The chlorine level will be increased in the body, which can give rise to acidosis that we don't want. Then if you start with the ringal lactate, how we will be giving the fluid? 4 ml into percentage of burn into weight in kg in 24 hours. So 4 ml you have to give. Percentage of burn you have already know, whether it is 80%, 20%, 60%, as per your total body surface area calculation. Then into weight of the patient. So in case you may have a question, ma'am, if a patient is a bedridden patient, is not able, we cannot take the weight. So how to? You remember, we have to do the approximate weight. So by looking at the posture of the patient, by looking at the body stature of the patient, either patient is in 60 kg or 40 kg or 90 kg. So according to approximate weight, you have to take. If at all patient is not able to stand up in your weight machine. Next is how you will give it. So first half of total volume given in first 8 hours. So when we calculate how much you will get, it will be in ml. So first half, if it is 1200, means 600. 600 ml you have to give in first 8 hours. Remaining 600 ml you have to give it another 16 hours. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it clear to
Ma'am.
you? Hello, please respond. Is it clear to you?
Yes,
Yeah.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So first of all, we have to know how much is the total ml we have to give, right? And then we have to divide first half in 8 hours we have to give, and remaining half we have to give in 16 hours. So remember, you know the flow rate, how to calculate the flow rate. As per the calculation of the flow rate, you have to adjust your fluid and you have to adjust your rate so that patient doesn't go in overloading of the fluid also, or we should not have less resuscitation of fluid also. So we have to maintain a normal blood pressure of the patient also with this fluid, and as well as patient should get adequate fluid so that the resuscitation or the damage whatever is occurred can be can get back. Okay,
Yes,
clear about the Parkland formula?
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Next 24 hours what we will do. So total volume half of first day. Again you have to calculate that, and the next 24 hours the total volume whatever you have you will be calculating, again half you have to give on first day. It is not about hours, it is not about 12 hours or 8 hours, it is just 24 hours. Means next 24 hours half volume you have to give on first day. So what you can give here, you can give it colloids, means some plasma expanders, some jello fusion. Sometimes we see that patient's BP is very dropping because patient may be in hypotension, right? So colloids that time may be helpful. And next, colloids have 0.5 ml per kg per percentage. This is the calculation of colloid, and 5% glucose to make up the rest. Okay, so 5% we can give glucose, either maybe the plain dextrose or maybe the dextrose normal saline. However, with the concentration of glucose we have to check in the fluid, and 5% glucose can be given in the next rest of the time, so that the fluid resuscitation completed by the help of this Parkland formula. Clear about the Parkland formula? Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now let us move on to the Brooks formula. Brooks formula, it is a modified Brooks formula derived as 2 ml into percentage of burn into weight in 24 hours. So Parkland formula was 4 ml if you remember. Here it is 2 ml. So first half, again the same thing, first half of the total volume given in the 8 hours, remaining half of the total volume given in the 16 hours. The thing is same. Am I clear? But only thing is that in Parkland formula, crystalloid fluid we have to start with 4 ml. Here crystalloid fluid we have to start with how much?
2 ml.
2 ml. Yes, very correct, very good. So 2 ml we have to start with. And next in 24 hours again the same like Parkland formula. Total volume half of the first day you can give with colloids, but little bit of differentiation in the calculation. In Parkland formula we have seen it is 0.5 ml per kg per percentage. Here it is 0.3 to 0.5. The only difference is this 0.3 to 0.5 per ml per kg percentage of burn. We have to, then you have to calculate it, and then you have to give it first half on the first day and the remaining on the next. Here there is no, in the next, in Parkland formula we have seen that we can give the glucose, but here if you see in Brooks formula there is no mention of glucose, only they are completing with colloids, right? All right.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, next is the Evans formula, right? Evans formula, if you see here, requirement for first 24 hours, colloids, they are starting with 1 ml per kg per percentage of burn. Then any saline, maybe the normal saline. They have not mentioned about ringal lactate here, mention that. Here saline means we have to give the combination of normal saline. So normal saline 1 ml per kg per percentage, and then dextrose, that is PD, 5% dextrose, 2000 ml. So one by one, we have to give in that 24 hours. Then requirement for the next 24 hours, half of the first 24 hours. So how much is the total amount you calculate. With that, you just give half in first 24 hours and remaining half in the next. So like that is the Evans formula. Are you getting me
Yes, ma'am.
about
Yes,
Evans
ma'am.
formula? Okay, okay. Next, you see how we will assess. Like, okay, we have started with the fluid resuscitation, we have done the calculation, then we have started with the fluid resuscitation. But we have to know whether the fluid resuscitation, that whatever we are giving to the patient, whether patient is really having the effect, good prognosis. Our assessment, how we will assess that the adequacy of fluid resuscitation that you are giving is optimum for your patient. So how with that we can do it by various type of monitoring. So first of all is the urine output. In adult, we have to see that your patient's urine output should be more than 1 ml per kg of per hour. Okay, so that because obviously we have catheterized the patient immediately in the emergency department itself. Then we have to we started with the Eurovac monitoring, so that every hour we can monitor the patient's urinary output. Then daily weight, I told you, patient who is bedridden cannot be able to, then we have to take the approximate weight, and if the patient is able to stand up, then you can check the with your weight machine. Then vital signs is very, very important, including the heart rate and blood pressure. Then if it's required, because sometimes patients are admitted in the burn intensive care unit, so we have to give sometimes the central line, and we have to monitor the central venous pressure, because you are giving the fluid to the patient. So that is also important, regular monitoring of central venous pressure. Then level of consciousness, GCS, you have to continuously check, maybe every 2 hourly interval. Because why? Because sometimes because of the hypoxia, patient may have a dysfunction in the brain, and the patient might be in the confusion state. So level of consciousness also is important. And then the laboratory values, all those hemoglobin, potassium, sodium, then your complete blood count, PSR, WBC, all those laboratory values also need to be checked and need to be sent in a regular interval of time. Next, if you see like resuscitation failure, sometimes we get to see that even we started with the resuscitation in time, we cannot save the life of the patient. Like, what can be the reason? What can be the reason of the resuscitation failure? Resuscitation failure or the death of the patient, there might be various reasons. If you see one by one, it may be delayed in resuscitation. If patient doesn't reach the hospital in time, the assessment was delayed, the fluid resuscitation started was delayed, so because of that the whole process got delayed, and like that we have extremely sad that we cannot save the life of an individual after burn injury. Then it may be electric burn. Electric burns are sometimes very dangerous. Externally you may not see, just a black discoloration, right? And deep, there might be very deep injury, and that is the reason like patient sometimes not taking it seriously, doesn't report to the hospital properly. So electric burn can also delay in resuscitation and get rid to the resuscitation failure. Then inhalation injury also, inhalation of the toxic gases, in a closed chamber. Today only, we if you see the newspaper today only, in Vizag there is leakage of chemical gases, in the road, and so many, there are about 5,000 people nearby the localities were having the breathing difficulty. They were unconscious, they could not take breath properly, and 8 persons died, right, even including a small child. So because of that they have a suffocation, they could not take breath, and because of that there is extreme failure of the airway and they collapse. So this inhalation injury can also be a one of the factor of resuscitation failure. Then escherotomy, if it is not done in time, it can be also a factor. Then carbon monoxide poisoning is extremely dangerous. And then lastly is the elderly patient. That's what so many, even patients who are young, their prognosis might be good, but patients who are elderly, already immunocompromised, already having some comorbid conditions, that is the reason, like sometimes the resuscitation, adequate resuscitation even failed in elderly clients. Clear to you?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now next is wound care. Some of the things already I have taken before, just to have a look here. Wound care should be delayed until a patent airway, adequate circulation, adequate fluid replacement have been established. You know, our priority should not be on the dressing of the patient. Our priority should be always A, B, C, right? Airway, breathing,
Breathing.
circulation, fluid replacement. So that should be always your target. So whenever you receive a burn patient, whenever you take a burn patient, always remember our priority should be patent airway, adequate circulation, adequate fluid replacement. After that only the wound care comes. Once your patient is stable, once your patient's vital parameters is stable, then you start taking care of the wound, right? For wound, patient will not die. Patient will die because of hypovolemic shock leading to like dehydration, leading to hypovolemic shock, or maybe circulatory collapse or cardiogenic shock, or maybe respiratory failure, respiratory arrest. So that is the reason, like, priority should not be like wound, right? So those concepts we have to change. Our priority should be always A, B, and C. Then two types of wound treatment can be used to control the infection. One is the open method, another is the multiple dressing change method. So any of the open method, directly in normal saline, you can treat it, irrigate it, and then you can use the sulfasalfadiazine, that is the Silverex ointment. And after that, also another process that with multiple gauze, multiple dressing can be also given, and like that way also patient can be taken care. Next, if you see here, I have highlighted the antimicrobial agent what we are using usually, the sulfasalfadiazine, that is 1% cream. It is very good, most bactericidal agent, minimal penetration of eschar. So this is also very effective. Another one is mefenite acetate, 5% or 10% sulfa myelin hydrophilic base cream. But mostly we use the silver sulfadiazine. Remember that mefenite acetate, it is also effective against gram negative, gram positive organisms. Diffuses rapidly through eschar. 10% strength, it is agent of choice for electrical burn. Remember that. For other types of burns, you can use sulfadiazine, but in case of electrical burn, you can use mefenite acetate, either 5% or 10%. Next, as I told you, patient may not be able to feel relief just if you give diclofenac or Voveron, right? You patient should be we have to give patient a strong analgesic or an opioid analgesic. It's an opioid analgesic actually. So that is the morphine sulfate, either morphine sulfate, phentermine, methadone, haloperidol, lorazepam, midazolam, right? So it's an opioid types of analgesic that only will be extremely useful for the patient suffering from burn pain. Okay. Now, if you look into this acute phase, it begins, we already know, already I have discussed, acute phase begins with 48 to 72 hours after the burn injury. In this phase, the extracellular fluids start mobilizing, and the diuresis process started. This phase is completed when wound is covered by skin graft or the wounds are healed. This may take weeks to many months. You know, after that only the rehabilitative phase will come. But before that, till weeks and months, the patient is under the acute phase. Then in acute phase, eschar begin to separate fairly after injury. Reepithelialization, that is a new tissue growth, new cell growth. Reepithelialization begins at wound margin and appears as red or pink scar. Sometimes in this acute phase, patient may suffer from hyponatremia, hypernatremia, hypokalemia, hyperkalemia, or sometimes there will be decreased hematocrit level. So because of this, patient sometimes may be having a difficult situation. But obviously, with the proper treatment, proper care, those things need to be extremely taken care as a conservative treatment. Now, the overall goals of the nursing management. Hello, are you listening?
Yes,
Hello.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello. Yeah, the overall goals of nursing management, if you see, what are the goals? One is our prevention of infection and wound care. Apart from ABC, all right. Apart from our main objective will be the A, B, and C: patent airway, circulation, breathing, right? And
Yes, ma'am.
after that only the wound care and other things will come. So the remaining goals will be the prevention of infection and wound care, excision and grafting, pain management of the patient, nutritional therapy of the patient, physical and psychological, and occupational therapy. Physical, psychological, occupational therapy will come in the extreme last phase. That is which phase? Last phase is which phase?
Rehabilitation.
Yes, rehabilitative phase. After this, only the last physical care, the total, like the range of motion exercises, the psychological counseling, occupational therapy, prosthesis use, all these things will come in that last phase. Now, a little bit on nutritional therapy. If you see, we know that patient need to have high protein, high calorie diet, often requires various supplements. The routes are oral is the best. Okay, enteral route. Once the patient is having this bowel sounds returns, we can start with the enteral feeding. Gut is the preferred alternative route, and if patient is not able to take by oral, then you can give either the gastric tube or the jejunostomy tube in case of patients accompanied with any head injury, any surgery, patient is unconscious, then we can give the gastric tube or the jejunostomy tube. Apart from enteral, then we can also think of parenteral, because if case patient is extremely sick and extremely weak, even the peristalsis movement is not proper, there will be Carling sign, there will be paralytic ileus, so then we cannot give directly to the stomach. So we can give the parenteral either through total parenteral nutrition or peripheral parenteral nutrition, right? And but thing is that there is chances that associated with increased risk of infections, because there will be so many tubings, and every 72 hours they should change the tube, should maintain the aseptic techniques. All these things are should be taken into consideration. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Next is the physical and psychological care. Active and passive range of motion exercises should be performed all joints. Support and counseling is important. Adjust with disability. We have to make our patients extremely like anxiety free. Every day we have to teach them how to adjust with the disability. It is not that easy, but then also we should not lose our hope. We always have to give them support. Then if you see in the rehabilitative phase, it starts when the patient burns wound are ill and patient is able to resume a level of self-care activity. This also takes weeks to months. Goal is resuming a functional role in society and to accomplish functional and cosmetic reconstructive surgery. So this is how, like, when the patient is mentally, physically ready, for the skin grafting, or once the patient is returning back to his own activities of daily living. So we will that time we consider it as a rehabilitative phase. Then here in rehabilitative phase, new skin starts to appear, which is flat and pink. Mature healing is reached in 6 months to 2 years. Scarring can happen, sometimes discoloration, contour. There will be a little bit of elevation of the skin. There will be unsmooth. There will be no smoothness in the skin. So these things will be there. There will be sometimes skin is getting squeezed, so those looks will be there. It may not be completely gone in case even after taking so much of treatment. Apply for that, what we can advise the patient: applied white water moisturize, emollients to prevent dryness and itching, and protect from sunlight for 6 to 9 months. Patient should not always, if it is in hands, he should cover his dress, that he should wear full sleeves dress. If it is exposed in the back, in the chest, it should be covered fully with the clothing. So like that, we have to encourage the clients. There might be some complications. So one can also call various phases different. So emergent phase, in the cardiovascular system, there will be arrhythmias, there will be hypovolemic, irrespiratory, upper respiratory syndrome, pneumonia. Urinary, it may be necrosis, failure. Acute phase, it may be infection. Flex properly, cannot bend properly, so that is called as a burn contracture. So in various when there is related to carbon monoxide poisoning, smoke inhalation, upper airway obstruction, so fluid volume is to integrity, from vascular compartment, immune, impaired immune response, impaired physical mobility related to body strain and contracture, ineffective individual coping related to fear and anxiety, dependent on healthcare provider. So these are all the nursing processes. Now, what to do? You have to submit for your own reference. I am telling you, have to jot down all the diagnosis, whatever I have put in your diagnosis and what are the mentioned affected.
Yes, ma'am.
You are full question burning. So I think I have all your burns.
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubt, because we are running out of time, he doesn't ask me. And today, as I burn, so all the syllabus are done, right? In case first you go to book, find something,
No.
How are you, everyone?
Good night, everyone.
Good night. You too.
Hey, Pilar.